Yo, what is up, YouTube? Today, I want to talk about what you need to win the Aries Cup. We're going to go over a guide that I have over here. Remember to like and sub if this is useful to you, and use code MAMA for 10% off your gamer subs. Let's get right into it. So, Aries Cup guide. So, this is going to be on the Nakayama Turf 2,000 meter track. It is a right-handed track. It's on medium distance. It's firm, spring, sunny. Nothing crazy, nothing strange here. Basically, this race is the Satsuki Sho. Okay, it's a Satsuki Sho, the first leg of the Triple Crown, which actually is going to be happening, I believe, in the States anyway. It's going to be happening on the 18th, technically on the 19th in Japan. Satsuki Sho, pretty exciting, where like newer horses are going to kind of show their face on a really big, really competitive race course, right? And try their hand at the classic Triple Crown. For us, it's just a CM. So, Satsuki Sho, what is it? This is the race, pretty standard course. It's an oval shape, all right? And if we take a look at it, it does begin on a pretty long straight, okay? So, movement skills are usually pretty good, but in general, movement skills are very nice, or nicer in this case, just because there's such a long straight, and overtaking is a lot more possible, right? And it does help you get like avoid the pace down mode, and I think some of them also come with a little bit of acceleration. But either way, helps out a lot in this very early, very long stretch. Okay, groundwork taking the lead also for front runners, obviously. And if we take a look at not necessarily lap 2, okay, this is like the first lap, and over here begins the second lap, right? But if we look at the later portion of the race, we take a look at the acceleration skills that are working, what is also not working, right? So no stopping me is mostly a gamble, okay? You can get nimble navigator, but no stopping me is mostly a gamble. For some strategies, it's kind of like the only acceleration they have, namely like pace chasers. So you might want to consider going for that, but it is mostly a gamble. Angling and scheming, Satan Sky's unique skill is always going to be very strong, or rather, it's very strong here because we're on a corner. It's acceleration. We have moving past and beyond. This is Metro Dober's unique skill. And Let's Pump Some Iron. This is Metro Ryan's unique skill. These are skills, all three of them are good to inherit. Victory Cheer is Kita-san Black's unique skill. And it's not going to be very good to inherit just because the duration is not going to be long enough to get that velocity carryover. It's not going to give acceleration, but that's fine. It's not activating late enough, so to speak, right? So getting the velocity carryover into the late race for Kita-san Black, namely, is going to be very effective. Not going to be very effective if you just borrow it. U equals MA square is Agnes Tachyon's unique skill. It provides a heal, provides a little bit of a speed boost. And it's going to be very key for, namely, Christmas Oguri, who is going to be kind of like the Thanos of this track. Spoiler alert. She is going to be very, very strong. And it activates pretty much at the exact same time as 777s. Can kind of chain into 777s if that's the case too. And help Christmas Oguri get that burst of speed and acceleration into that late race sort of portion, okay, the entry. We have Festive Miracle. This is Christmas Oguri's unique skill. It's going to be pretty much only good on Christmas Oguri. And we have A Kiss for Courage. This is Summer Maruzensky's unique skill. And it's just a mid-race velocity skill that activates whenever you activate a heal, right? If you've activated one heal and we're past the halfway mark of this track, so if 777s is your only heal, it's going to activate as soon as you hit 777s. Doing this, you have a very good activation point, such that you're going to have velocity carryover into this late race section, which is always going to be very nice. Acceleration skills that don't work include Redshift. This is Maruzensky's unique skill. We have Budding Blossom. That is Nishino Flower's unique skill. We have Shooting for Victory. That is Taiki Shuttle's unique skill. Unrestrained isn't going to be very good. That's like a generic gold skill for frontrunners. And Straightaway Spurt is just way too late. So end closers are not going to be very strong. All in all, just to kind of sum it up, we are going to see frontrunners be very strong in the Satsuki Sho, as well late surgers having access to Moving Past and Beyond, having access to Let's Pump Some Iron. Pace chasers are going to be like good for Christmas Oguri, but otherwise just not that strong. You're going to have to gamble. You have like Head On, Neck and Neck is going to be new with the new Daiwa Scarlet card that's about to come out. and no stopping me is a gamble. Moving on, let's talk about stat thresholds. It's just speed. So build more speed, get more speed. It's not really that hard. Nothing to worry about here. For the stat requirements, pretty much the only thing we want you to consider and make sure you understand is that like 600 stamina, anywhere between like 550, 650 stamina is kind of your target point. You don't need a heal for this track. The stamina requirements are fairly low. And besides that, you just want to have like a good amount of wit and power to accompany your speed. Obviously, speed, you want to max out as much as you can. And wit and power are equally as important. If we take a look at like the downhill and uphill section, we can see that there's just about as much downhill as there are uphills. And there are frequent uphills as well. So wit and power are both going to be kind of equally important here in this track. Maybe you can argue wit is a little more important because it also helps with sort of skill activation rate, right? Whatever your case, doesn't really matter, I don't think. Or it's not going to be that much of a difference. Moving on, you are going to see over here some of the key skills for each strategy. We're not going to talk too much about Runaway because Runaway, you're just not going to make a very good ace because Track Blazer doesn't allow you to make a Runaway. But we have Frontrunner, right? Very standard. Angling, Scheming, Bark Roll, Blessings. This is Teum Opera O, New Year outfit, unique skill. We have Groundwork taking the lead for that early acceleration. 2 movement skills will be very nice. Dodging, Danger, Prudent Positioning are 2 of like the 3 that are kind of available. I believe there's Ignite, Spirit, Wit. That's really hard to get though, right? And we have 3 green skills to activate your Groundwork or however many. Like you could also just rely on taking the lead too, but this is a Wit check as opposed to green skills not being a Wit check, right? Pace Chaser. So Pace Chaser is going to have a new kind of card to play around with. It's not like the most amazing card, okay? It is kind of mediocre as far as the stat stick goes. So this is a new Pace Chaser option power card. It's a whale card, so I wouldn't say you should roll for it. But if you get maximum break, you have 10% race bonus, okay? You have 35% friendship bonus. You have 2 power bonus, 1 stamina bonus. That's not too bad. With the 10% race bonus, which is pretty nice, you have access to Neck and Neck, which is the late race acceleration skill exclusive to Pace Chasers. It's a golden version of Head On. But do note that it's not going to be first half random. It's just going to be random throughout that late race section. So at a random point in the late race, this skill will activate and give you acceleration. Hopefully it activates early, right? That is something you can consider if you're trying to really make a Pace Chaser work. Otherwise, I do think Killer Tunes is going to be very good. This is pretty much going to be coming from the Power El Condor Pasta card. And No Stopping Me is pretty much the only kind of acceleration Pace Chasers have. So might be very important for them in particular. But otherwise, you know, it's still a gamble. You have Christmas Oguri with a bunch of unique skills. I would probably point out that U equals MA square is going to have a really good activation point. Again, kind of chains in to 777s, right? It also provides a speed boost along with a heal. So having that U equals MA square for the Christmas Oguri to get that velocity boost into that late race and also have like this double healing skill activation timing for her unique skill to kind of cover those bases. Like you could have 4 heals because these 2 are activating at a good point. It's going to be very nice, I think. Besides that, right, just skills that are good for each strategy is going to be very good typically for Christmas Oguri. Nothing really too crazy besides the U equals MA square here as far as what's unique to her. Moving on, you have Late Surger, okay? Moving past and beyond, that's, you know, that's Metro Dober's unique skill. Metro Ryan's unique skill on your left is going to be on the Nice Nature Wit card. And No Stopping Me is going to be offered by Yukino Bijin. And again, you probably don't really need this. I'll probably take this off. I put this in myself. And I feel like you have the other unique skills. You don't really need to rely on No Stopping Me. If you were to want to do it, I would probably just stick with Nimble Navigator and not No Stopping Me. It's a little too expensive, I think. End Closer, you have Moving Past and Beyond, Let's Pump Some Iron, same skills as the Late Searchers. They also have access to Daring Strike in the Power Admire Vega card. And No Stopping Me is probably not going to be something you want to rely on for your End Closer strategy. If we take a look at example decks, okay, it's pretty much the same story for a lot of these CMs. Especially so for this one because there's just not really a high stamina requirement, okay? We don't really need stamina cards. Try to cap out speed with 2 speed cards. If that's not possible, put a 3rd speed card in. Use power sparks. Everything else is wit. You could trade one of those wit cards for a power card. Maybe that power card comes with a good skill, like the Admire Vega, maybe like Daiwa Scarlet, maybe El Condor Pasa, right? That is always something to kind of consider. It's going to be kind of consistent across all the different strategies. Always make sure, if you're new to deck building, check out my video on how to deck build for making your track, but always try to maintain a over 50% race bonus. It could be equal or better than 50% race bonus. That's what you're going to want to have. Guts deck is 1 really good speed card, 3 guts cards, and 2 wit cards. Okay, that's typically what you're looking at. Besides that, we have some options here to kind of go over. Nothing really crazy to highlight besides maybe power cards. Again, Daiwa Scarlet is a new option for pace chasers, right? It has that golden acceleration skill. Again, not very reliable, so don't be, super big on this, okay? Besides that, we have No Stopping Me if you absolutely need it from the Yukino Bijin, and these are included in the borrow slot options, right? I would probably say El Condor Pasa is a little better with the killer tunes. But besides that, here are some example decks. You could always take a look at this on your own time through the notes. It's going to be linked in the description and pinned in the top of the comment, okay? And besides that, let's see over here. Let's talk about some of the Umas that are going to be very strong for this for Satsuki Sho, okay? So 1 or 2 star Umas, they're not going to really make the S tier list, or rather the S bracket. The S bracket is kind of reserved for the Thanos of this track, and that's going to be Christmas Oguri, particularly the Pace Chaser version, I believe, just because U equals MA squared is just very, very good for its activation timing, for what it does, for the speed boost that it gives you, right, for how it factors into Oguri Cap's game plan, okay? But besides that, you have Measure Orion for the free Umas that you could use, right? Grass Wonder has Dominator, which is cool. Nice Nature has some debuffs, but I wouldn't rely on it too much. Mayo no Top Gun has options to run, right? As a late surger, pace chaser, she has options, or rather availability of No Stopping Me, which is still a gamble, right? But she's very flexible in how you can run her. Agnes Tachyon is fine. It's not as good as Christmas Oguri, who converts her unique skill to, part of a really big acceleration speed skill. But she's totally fine on this track. For the 3-star, the Gotcha Umas, Oguri Cap Pace Chaser is going to be what reigns supreme. You have U equals MA square, right? You have probably access to, I don't know if you need head on exactly, probably not, but with 777s and U equals MA square, those are 2 heals that activate at a very, very good time, which can allow you to even chain and use 4 heals for Christmas Oguri. Get that really consistent activation sort of conditions for her unique skill to activate, which gives her a burst of speed, a burst of acceleration, and it heals for whatever reason, Could also consider making her a front runner so that she has access to groundwork taking the lead, right? You can also give her moving past and beyond as a pace chaser just to kind of cover your bases, right? In case you're fighting in a front runner heavy lobby. She just has a lot of options, can be filled with a bunch of different skills that cover all the different scenarios that will allow her to win. Besides that, on the A list, you have pretty much all the front runners that are very exceptional. Saiyan Sky has a very good acceleration. It's just goes without saying. England Scheming is just very good, especially on herself. You have the Summer Maru Zensky as well, with a great mid-range skill that you can control with a heal. You have Mihono Bourbon, right, with Operation Cacao. That's a very good mid-race velocity, as well as Kitasan Black. Same story, mid-race velocity, very good. Metro Dober is going to be a little harder to raise, but, I mean, her unique skill is very good for this track. And being that she's the original holder of the skill, she doesn't have any reduced efficacy, and so it's going to be worth consideration, right? For if you're really a big fan of late surgers or Metro Dober, okay? Moving on, not really much to talk about here. A lot of these Umas are Umas with greatly velocity boosts, right? Which just need some acceleration from some other place. But otherwise, because they have a greatly velocity boost on the final straight, they have options to kind of win out the game, and they're pretty consistent too. the activation point. Besides that, though, you have some new entries here, like Nice Nature Cheerleader, who is pretty cool because Nice Nature Cheerleader not only has a really unique skill in that it kind of depends on her popularity, right? What kind of speed boost she gets. It's not really that crazy, but she has no stopping me inherently on her kit, so allows her to gamble. She even has Nimble Navigator if you don't want to spend too much. And you also have access to Dominator. So you have a pretty solid Uma with acceleration on her kit with Dominator on top of it, which is a very good speed sort of debuff, right? For medium distance tracks that activates in the position she wants to be in. She wants to be in the late race, or rather she wants to be a late surger, right? So she is going to be in that position to activate Dominator pretty easily. And so with that all being said, Cheerleader Nice Nature is a good ace that also you could just slap a debuff, a very strong debuff on, right? So definitely someone to consider in your team. The Yikes tier, again, this is not like super specific, but these are just like Umas off the top of the head who have unique skills that typically are good, but just are not very good for this track, right? Maruzensky is one. Taiki Shuttle is the second half of the final corner. It's way too late for this track. You have Nagisa Taishin, straightaway Spurs, just way too late, right? All these Umas just don't really have, or rather have unique skills that absolutely do not work on this track, including Ballroom Saiyan Sky, unfortunately, who will only, I don't know, I think she's gonna activate her unique skill on the final straight. I think that's what it will be. It has to delay, and the unique skill on the final straight is just gonna give a velocity boost, and it's not a greatly speed boost, so it's just kind of sad. It definitely doesn't need to be in the Yikes tier, but it's not, definitely not B tier, and it's yeah, it's definitely not very amazing, right? That then it would be on some other tracks anyway. But besides that, right, we talk about the inherent unique tier list. Metro Ryan, Metro Dober, right? We talked about it before, right? These are going to be the key acceleration skills for late searchers and closers. You have Saiyan Sky, key acceleration skill for frontrunners, and Agnes Tachyon, who provides a very, very good unique skill for Christmas Oguri. So very much worth the consideration. Everyone else is just not like really worth considering. Moving past that, let's talk about just on general high level perspective. High level, just like on a broader perspective. Christmas Oguri is just going to be very strong, and as a pace chaser specifically. And also, I think not only is she going to be very strong, well, because she's strong, rather, she is reliable. And she's reliable enough as an ace that I would actually consider, like if I were trying to min-max or meta, like you could have 2 supporting debuffers for her. Typically speaking, I think your chances of winning CMs are better by just having 3 aces. But in the case of Christmas Oguri, just because of how reliable her kit is, specifically for this track with the 777s, with U equals MA square, I think that she is worth, or rather she can be worth supporting with just 2 Umas and running as a single ace without like any sort of bias, without any sort of like favorites. I think it's a viable strategy. Besides that, triple aces are going to be good. You know, triple frontrunners is going to be good, right? That's going to be fine. We have a solo pace chaser, double late searcher, so that they could maybe up the pace of the lobby, right? As long as you have higher wit. But besides that, I think that's pretty much going to cover it. Debuffers, I don't think debuffers are going to be that strong, especially stamina debuffers. People are going to have like very easily over 600 stam just by accident, so it's not really worth thinking about stamina debuffers. But people or Umas with Dominator is definitely something you can put in your team and can have a pretty nice effect. Anyway, chat, that's gonna be it from this guide. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and sub, and leave a comment below. That would help me out a lot. And use code MOM for 10% for gamer subs. I'll be off. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.